Hello, everyone. I'm just jumping in the group here, make sure we're live, and then we will get this party started. I'm sorry for the short notice. I could have sworn I set up an event for today, but I didn't, but that's okay. We're here now. I swear, I need someone to help keep my life in order sometimes. But let me just refresh. Make sure we are live. We are live. Okay. So thank you so much, Erica, my beautiful friend, for being here today. Erica is a holistic health coach. And I really wanted to invite her in here because I love her approach to health. I know a lot of women struggle, well, men and women struggle with being able to find something that works that they can stick with, I think is the biggest issue that people have. And after working with Erica, she just has so much knowledge in so many different areas. So Erica, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and take it away?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. So like Justine said, I am a holistic health coach. I started my career in the health and wellness industry about over 10 years ago. I started off as a personal trainer. I got my master's in nutrition. I started teaching group fitness classes. I have my 500-hour registered yoga teacher training. So it's like kind of a little bit of everything that's like all come around into this like whole like big wellness like continuum of just like everything that affects us in life, everything from like our actual like physical body to like the way we think about things. So yeah, so I'm excited to start like really sharing that with everyone.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to flash some comments up here as they come. So this is Michelle, and she's excited because she is looking for a nutrition coach. And one thing, I think the stigma of what it takes to lose weight or to become healthy, or how much effort and how much time and dedication you have to put into it, I think sets a lot of people off. I know it does me personally. So how do you approach that with clients? Like how do you approach health and wellness versus what we like, the fad diets that we see? Len, no.
No,
I'm so
absolutely.
sorry.
Because I hear that so often, and like a lot of people. No, you're fine.
No, come on, Len. I am so sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, I hear that all the time when it comes to nutrition and diets and what exercise program I'm supposed to do and everything else. That there's so much information out there of all of these things that tell you this is the way to do it. But then, you scroll to the next post online and it's telling you the opposite. And then the next one tells you something different, something different, something different. And there's just like too much information out there. And I find that so often with my clients, they've in the past tried all of these very like restrictive diets. And being restrictive just means that it's taking anything away from what you were doing before. So whether that be carbs or fats or added sugars and anything that's out there, anything that takes away is a restrictive diet. And this actually gives us this negative mindset towards everything else because we have to scold ourselves when we eat that something that we weren't supposed to eat. And then chances are, well, then we fall off the wagon. And then it's like this cycle, downward spiral of beating ourselves up and then trying again and then beating ourselves up again, when really if we could just eat things in moderation, just eat things, make the best choices that we can, but still be able to enjoy, you go to a birthday party, have a piece of cake. You go, once every so often, you order a pizza, like that's okay. Like pizza's always the one that people are like, oh my gosh, I had pizza today. And I'm like, so what was that pizza? Bread, some tomato sauce, some cheese, maybe veggies on top or meat on top. What of those things are bad? Like I don't understand why pizza like always this super negative thing. But
Oh,
if we
it's
could just, you know, eat a slice or two slices of pizza, not the whole pizza. Don't eat pizza every day for every meal. Like people are always like, "Oh yeah, that's common sense." I'm like, "Yeah, but no one does it."
right. Yeah, exactly. And it's so intimidating. And one thing that we were talking about the other night even was how frustrating it is as a health coach to be looking at in the online space and all of the lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Um, and speaking of weight, how do you approach weight as a number? Like, do you base like progress on the weight number on the scale?
A lot of times, no. And I'll tell people like that's okay to have some weight goal as long as it's like realistic. Like as long as people aren't like, well, I weigh 200 pounds now and I want to weigh 94 pounds. And you're like, well, no, that's not healthy. But
Right.
a number is fine to have as a goal, but we don't want to base everything off of just that number, that we're only going to see progress if we're seeing that number change. Because for a lot of people, at first, you're going to have a change in number because you're losing water weight. And then all of a sudden, you stay somewhere for kind of a long time while your body's changing. And then you might lose some more, you might gain a little bit, you might fluctuate between a couple pounds. And then people beat themselves up about it. And that makes it worse because then you start to go back and say, well, this isn't working. So who cares? I'll just go back to whatever I was doing before. And then you totally lose sight of that goal. So I started thinking about this as I was talking with a group of my clients. We did a group coaching call, and someone had asked a question asking, well, if I'm trying to change my limiting beliefs, trying to flip the script and be more positive, how do I flip the script for the phrase, I am fat? And I had to think about it, but I thought, well, fat as like an adjective of your body that isn't the negative thought that you're having, because fat is just correlating to whatever number on the scale or your BMI or your body fat percentage or whatever it might be. The fat is a fact. That number is a fact. What you think about that number, that's the limiting belief that we want to flip and change. So it's not, oh, I weigh this much weight or whatever, I wear this size jeans. It's about how does that make me feel? What do I do because of that? Do I tell myself because I weigh this much I can't go play with my kids, or I can't go for a hike, or I have to cut all sweets out of my diet because of this number? Those are the limiting beliefs, not that I weigh this much. That's just a number.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, I mean, when I started losing weight, and I just stopped focusing on like I want to weigh 130 pounds. Like with my build and my like I'm like a linebacker. Like I've got the wide build and I'm solid. Like I have muscle. And when I was basing everything, like all my progress by stepping on the scale, I'd work out, the scale would go up. Well, yeah, because I'm gaining muscle. And less muscle takes up less space than fat. And I think a lot of us get caught on I want to be this number, I want to be this size. But you have to first be okay with what is. You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you start with mindset with your clients, or what is like a typical approach that you take when you get started with people?
It's kind of a little bit of the physical aspect of it with the mindset. 'Cause I find that if it's just a dive right into mindset, I lose some people off the bat. They're like, "Oh, that's not what I came here for," and it's like, really, you
Right.
actually did. You just don't know it yet. So we can sometimes have to actually start with the physical thing. So I start right off with the consultation, and it's like I have this packet of questions. That has to do with like all different areas of your life, and like what are things that you've tried, what worked, what didn't work, what do you like, what do you not like, tons and tons of questions. And it can seem like when you first look at it like it's pages and pages long, and like I email it out, And at first you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is like going to take forever. And I'm like, just take it one question at a time. Like, don't worry about, rush. I don't need it in 20 minutes or anything. Like, it's okay. Like, take your time going through it. And when people are just asked different questions, that automatically starts to trigger things in their mindset, that something they didn't think of before, or they never thought about what are things that I enjoy doing and can that have an effect on the rest of my wellness. And by digging into just identifying what different areas of their life they feel like they need something in or feel are lacking, they feel like they want to improve, that maybe had nothing to do with weight, nutrition, fitness level, then to think, okay, well, what can I do about that? And then I start to add, like, build into some mindset. So my mindset work usually starts pretty broad. I walk everyone through an exercise where they rank their different areas of wellness. And that's like your physical body, your emotional, your mental health, your financial wellness, your relationships with others, your career, things like that. And then from there, okay, so these are the areas that we want to work on. Because if we can raise one level, the rest of them are going to raise as well. It's that like that saying that like the tide rises and raises like all of the ships or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just like trying to focus on everything, focus on one thing at a time. But if we're staying in this like whole wellness realm, it's all going to affect each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I kind of as a side note too, if anyone is into yoga, Erica does the most beautiful yoga classes. Like I could just like scream from the mountaintops because you bring you help the people doing the yoga with their awareness, because body awareness and your mindset, like what you're focusing on, is so important, especially when you're doing the exercises. I've found when I've done your classes, like that's what's different. People are like, well, why do that when I can go to YouTube? Well, because there's just there's something different about being in someone who's passionate about something, being in their energy, and I see that through and through with your yoga classes. So before I forget, make sure you drop the link for that. They're the most beautiful yoga classes because she brings in meditation with it, in a sense, like reminds you what to be aware with, what to focus on, to set the intention, which is so important. It's so important. But yeah, I think there's just such a broad perspective of what a health coach does. And I just think you're just so outside of the box with that. And because you also have massage therapy. So what can you kind of explain to us, like all of your areas of expertise, because you've got a whole bunch of them?
Oh gosh. I mean, do we have time for
Your
that?
favorite.
Yeah, so I started out originally as a personal trainer. And then a certified personal trainer. I should specify, there are a lot out there that are not certified. So a certified personal trainer. And then I started teaching group fitness classes. So I got my certifications in mat Pilates, in yoga. I teach strength training classes. I teach Les Mills, like body pump, body flow, body combat, CX works, teach spinning and the Les Mills versions of sprint and RPM. I have my master's in nutrition. I went back and got my license in massage therapy. I am a certified health coach. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but I've always been just like a learner. That like people joke and be like, "Well, are you gonna go back to school for this?" And I'm like, if school was free, yes, because I don't want any more student loans. But
Right. Yeah. Struggle's real.
it's everything just like builds off of each other, and everything, every course, every training that I take, like makes me want to jump into something else and inspires like, oh, I want to learn more about this. No, oh, I want to learn more about this. And I think that's something like as being a health coach that's actually really important, where there's often like nowadays this thought that like to be a coach in something, to teach other people, you don't necessarily need a certification or a degree or something like that. And I think that's so true in a lot of things, but when it's coming to your health, I feel like that's like something that's should be really important. You're talking about your body, your nutrition, your mind, that having these like different certifications and different trainings that I've gone through should like be like added bonus. Like I've gone through things, like I have experience, and sure I can share experience with you, but I also have like all of this science stuff too to back it up and be like, hey, really, this is why this might be a better idea than this. And I think that's like what's missing a lot there, out a lot in the health world.
Absolutely. And have you found like with nutrition, I'm not experienced at all in nutrition, but like based on a person's obviously like genetic makeup or health issues that they have, that determines like what would be healthy as far as a diet, or what types of foods they should be getting. I mean, that's kind of, it's almost like a personalized health or nutrition plan.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I work like really specifically with nutrition stuff, I do bring in I have training in Ayurvedic medicine, which is like the sister science to yoga. So it's the ancient Eastern science of the way that basically eating toward your body type. So that there's three different types of people, like your physical body type, and then if you could eat foods that are supposed to balance your body type, that you would be overall healthier than if you're just kind of like eating whatever. And it was really interesting when I first started doing it, that it was a lot of the foods that I didn't really care for were actually foods that aggravated my body type. And I was like, oh, wow, that made a lot of sense. But there's a lot of different, I don't even want to like necessarily call them fad diets right now, but there's like yoga, or not yoga, nutrition for your blood type. And I haven't started to research too much into that, but they're starting to get more and more that it's very different for everybody. Like just because something worked for someone doesn't mean it's going to work for other people. And even if something worked for someone at one point, it might not work for them again later. But I think a lot of people also forget that whenever you start, the reason a lot of people have success with fad diets at the beginning is because you most likely are eating less than you were eating before, and or working out more than you were before. So there's going to be a change, but that change won't last. It's not sustainable. You want, when we're picking, a nutrition plan, or changing any nutritional habits, we want it to be sustainable. We don't want it to be like, well, I'm not going to eat this for 6 weeks, and then after that 6 weeks, I'll start eating it again, because you're just going to go back to where you were before. And then what was the whole point?
Yeah, sustainable. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard? Do you find it hard for people to find that like sustainable place to be? Like what's comfortable for someone?
Yeah, but I think it ends up becoming more than, once I get them to understand that they want to have something sustainable and they get that, then it's about that mindset, because it's then,
Yeah,
what is sustainable to me? Okay, getting rid of like the idea that like, everything should be fat free. Well, there are healthy fats, and like there are fats that you should be eating, and you actually need to eat some fat in your diet. And or like, what is a carb, and why should I not cut them out, and why do I need them? And so getting rid of, again, those limiting beliefs of like, I can't lose weight if I'm eating carbs. Well, guess what? Carbs are fruit and vegetables. So if you're not eating carbs, we have bigger problems than anything else, really.
right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and gosh, I was one who like, I was told, like don't eat pasta. Well, I eat pasta every freaking night of the week. And if someone's going to tell me I can't have pasta, it's like, go fly a kite, because, but then I remember talking
Absolutely.
yeah, or hearing people like, I'm so tired. I can't do this. So what causes that, like, low energy? Well, you're not you're not eating, you're starving yourself. Like, I had an oyster cracker for dinner today. Like, it's just not healthy. And I just appreciate you for speaking out, because I know it's kind of a taboo topic to, like, people get mega crazy when you try to like stand up and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
no, you don't have, keto is not good, or this doesn't work, or, you know, you're good, just going to gain it back. I'm sure you get like the cat claws your way. Is that true?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've even like accidentally like commented on people's posts, like not realizing like they were. I guess there's like a keto like network marketing, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so someone added me on Facebook, and she's like, oh, like ask some question about keto, and I was like, well, I have my master's in nutrition, and like keto's actually really bad, and blah, and I like blah, blah blah. And then she's like, okay, thanks. And then I realized after, and I was like, oh, sorry, wasn't trying to like hurt your business or anything. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm like, if no one talks about keto being
Right?
bad,
Yeah.
it's like this huge thing. And it seems to be like this ebb and flow too, where like all of a sudden I hear it all the time. And then you kind of like, oh, maybe it died out. And then it comes back and I'm like, oh no. But it's just, it
Yeah.
repeats over and over again. And it blew my mind. Someone talked to me once, and I was teaching a 6 p.m. spinning class, a high intensity spinning class. And this guy comes in, and after class, he was like, oh, like great class, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I just like started doing keto again. And I try and like, I don't want to be judgmental to people like, oh, okay. And I'll be like, how's it going? Because if it's working for you, then by all means. And he's like, well, yeah, so this, like, I'm excited to go eat because I actually haven't eaten anything the whole day. It's 6 p.m. Why have you not eaten today? And then thought it was a good idea to work out. I'm glad you didn't like pass out, because
Yeah.
how did you function through your day? Like, blows my mind. And that's all the time people like I feel like I often now more too like the intermittent fasting. And I'm like, well, if you just like didn't snack at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're kind of already doing it because you should be sleeping for 8 hours. So
Yeah.
everything like will start to work first, but it's not gonna last. And it's, people I know, people who are doing it, and they're like, okay, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I can finally start to eat, and they're like shaking, and I'm like, well, you should have eaten already. If you're got to the point that you're shaking, something's not right.
Right. Right. And I'm glad you brought this up too, because I think a lot of health coaches, and you've said this too, a lot of health coaches are associated with a product. Like you'll see, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
health coach, and then, oh wait, I get to know you, I get to work with you, and you're a Beachbody coach, or you promote this product, or like
Mm-hmm.
I've never claimed to be a health coach, but like the product that I take, like they kind of seem to go hand in hand. You're different in that regard. So could you touch on real quick kind of the, I don't want to say the selling points, but kind of, like how you don't have a product to back you up. You have a product in the sense of your service and your support. So how does, I don't really even know what question I'm trying to get at. If you do, where
No,
I'm
I
going
think
with
I
it.
think I get it. I get it. So on one side, I don't know totally. I was a beach body coach for a while, and I was like, oh yeah, because this is gonna complement like everything else that I do. But then with that, anything that has that product with it, it's like you become the product, and it's all about the product, getting people to buy the product, getting people to buy the program. And it's like, well, yeah, I have online programs, I have like online classes and whatnot, but it's not about like, for me, it's not, you will only like lose weight, get healthier, whatever with my product. It's okay, let's look at your life and the things that you do, the things that you enjoy, the foods you like to eat, don't like to eat, whatever, and see how we can make that be your healthiest version of you. And it would always actually bother me when I was a Beachbody coach that all the other coaches were, like, I'm a health coach and like this and this, and like, to be honest, not every single one of their programs resonated with me. Some of them had nutrition plans with them that I was like, why would you do that? Why would you not eat that or eat that? Like, all the things like I've mentioned before. And so that was kind of what actually drove me like kind of away from it. Was like, well, like, I can't really support that program with the knowledge that I have. How do I like stay with this company? But the fact that I had all this other knowledge backing it up, like I thought was gonna like set me apart from other coaches, like in a positive way. Like, wouldn't you want your coach to have all this other information, be able to help you in so many other ways? And the way that the programs are like kind of structured is that it's like that's it. Um, they don't want any of the outside stuff. They're kind of like banking on that. And so I was like, okay, this isn't right. This like very strategic, like you have to work out every single day, do these workouts and like push yourself so hard and you have to drink shakes. And anyone who knows me, I'm like the anti-shake drinker, period. I do not like them at all. So promoting that was not working for me in the first place. But that there's just like so many more levels to being healthy and well. And there's actually like statistics out there. And this is like again, not a bash to like Beachbody or any other program at all. But like there are statistics out there that so many coaches started out as like a Beachbody coach where they like started to be like understanding like what it was to like help people, but then realized that they needed something else. And then they
Mm-hmm.
branched into something else and like built a totally different like, business out of that. And so I kind of did that, but like I think I sold like one or two things with. I didn't do anything with Beachbody when I did it. But
I hear that a
I
lot.
just had to change my mindset even about it and be like, no, it's more than that. Like you have to dig deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's kind of like well, with any network marketing, it's kind of like the stepping stone into just being online and being able to help someone virtually versus, um and yeah, I mean, there's some phenomenal Beachbody coaches, very successful, and they rock it. But it's very true that
Absolutely.
a lot of people fall out of that model. And I just think it's so important that you share your message because there's people out there who have tried all the things. They've tried the products, they've tried doing this, they've tried that diet, and just having someone to kind of share that with, and then in return be able to, well, why don't we try this, and being able to stick with it, that's the biggest thing, the absolute biggest
Yes.
thing. Well, I know, like quarantine, none of my shorts fit, so I use a rubber band to keep them closed, and it's okay. It's okay. The old me would have been like, I'm not eating or I'm not doing this, but being comfortable with who I am in my skin, and knowing that it's
Yeah.
the decision I made, um, doesn't make me want to cry
Right.
much.
And it's something too that's deeper than just like, because there's always like, well, be comfortable in your own skin. So then why would you like want to change it? I was like, you can still be like confident and comfortable in your skin and have like a weight loss goal or something.
Yeah,
But then it's how you go about that. Like, you don't want to starve yourself to hit that goal. You want to be healthy to hit that goal.
right. I want to feel good. Versus I
Mm-hmm.
just want to look good in a swimsuit when I go out. That was my driver. Like feeling like, oh, I need to look a certain way for my husband, or I'm fat, or, after having kids and stuff. It's got to be how you feel about yourself. And it's,
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, it starts there, and that's okay. Like, it can start with
yeah,
some extrinsic outside factor, like I don't like the way I look, or I don't like the way this fits me, or whatever. But then, like, to actually get to that goal, yeah, it has to be about how do you feel? How does, you're changing your diet. Okay, how do you feel when you do that? Do you have energy, or do you want to just sleep all day and you feel like garbage because like your stomach hurts and you're tired and you get headaches and like that's what kind of life is that? That's not going to get you any further.
exactly. Well, thank you so much. I can't believe how fast like time goes when I'm
Me
on these,
too.
because it can tell your passion and your energy through the screen, and that just makes me so freaking happy. So where can these beautiful ladies find you if they want to, your group programs, whatever you have, where can they find you?
Yeah. So my Facebook page is Power of Three Wellness. And pretty much through there it links to like everywhere else. So they'll be on my Facebook page. There's a Linktree link, and that has literally where you can find just about everything. My free Facebook community, Instagram, my website for booking appointments, things like that. My email, all the things, information about my podcast that launches next week.
Yay!
And yeah, so that's the easiest place. Power of free wellness.
Perfect. Well, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to Erica. She is such a beautiful human. I have just loved getting to work with you and get to know you. It's really funny because Erica was like the silent fly on the wall for a very, very long time. But I'm just so glad, like the way you've blossomed is just, it gives me goosebumps. But if you are one who is uncomfortable talking about health, wellness, what to do, reach out to Erica. She's very, very easy to talk to. She's just genuine and sweet, and I just adore you. So thank you for coming in here and spending time with me and all the ladies. And drop your link, whichever is easiest for you, in the comments when we're done, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm going to end the stream, and I will catch up with you, Erica, in just a second. But thank you again for being here, and
Sounds good.
we'll see you soon.
Thank you.